And welcome to Right
Fucking.
Lollipop Now. Great find, Karen.
Thank you.
Tell us about your lollipop.
Lollipop, lollipop, oh, lolly, 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 lollipop. All right, that's enough.
You have such a beautiful voice.
Aw, thanks, John. John, what's shaking? What are you excited about?
I am ready to do this day and this episode. I am hot on this guy, Joshua.
I'm hot on a guy named Joshua, too.
Zing. Perfect alley-oop. Joshua is channeled by Gary Temple Bodley. Is that how you pronounce his name?
I don't know.
I'm the one telling the story. It's something very close to Gary Temple Bodley.
Yes, I'm going with yes, John.
I might have
Yes,
the names
and.
out of order. Yes, and thank you.
We use improv rules.
Buffigliano.
Keep it going.
Yes.
All right, so tell us about Joshua.
So,
what's exciting about Joshua?
I'm hot on him because I perceive him to be an integrator of Abraham, Dr. Joe, and Bashar, my three favorite people. And he reframes and like aggregates and says statements that really take in what I consider the best of my three favorites. And there's two pathways I'd love to start off going down that are what I consider his most powerful perspectives. And the first is his definition of unconditional love. And we've kind of touched on this before, but his basic definition of unconditional love is you recognize external circumstances do not control your emotion or your state of being at all. You're picking your emotional state of being based on a perspective you choose to have intentionally or consciously rather than what's going on around you. And he integrates this as part of an overall concept that we think we want experiences, objects, relationships, the things everyone says they want, money, a spouse, an experience, a vacation, right? All these things, a better job. And he claims, and I see very clearly, that even when you're essentially manifesting in joy, like $1 million would feel great to have. The only reason that $1 million feels great to have is because you're essentially lacking it right now, so you feel the joy by focusing on it. And he acknowledges, just as Abraham and everyone says, yes, you're a creator of your own reality. Yes, you can be, do, or have anything you want. Yes, you can focus on $1 million with enough intensity, focus, and joy to bring it to you. But he makes this like earth-shattering concept for me that if you're imagining or capable of imagining something you want, you're still leading a limited life. He considers it a high level of human experience to know you're the creator and consciously bring forth experiences you prefer. But he claims what we all actually came for is a level that's above conscious creator. And he kind of lumps that into experiencing the unimaginable or experiencing the unknown.
Right.
And he claims through the concept of reality being a mirror, if you validate every circumstance occurring around you, someone yelling at you, a car on fire, someone saying you're the greatest, someone saying you're the worst, whatever is happening around you, if you can truly embody and feel positive emotion of the perspective that this is happening for me, this is benefiting me, this is fucking amazing no matter what it is, constantly putting out into the mirror, everything's amazing regardless of anything, and not focusing in on any experience that you think is gonna make life better, $1 million. He claims you access this level called the unimaginable, where things start happening in your life that are beyond what you could even conceive of imagining wanting to have the experience of.
Wow, that's pretty mind-blowing. I gotta like sit with that. That's so cool.
Yeah, did you track? I realized my explanation was kind of long.
I totally tracked it, yeah. Because how do we know the unknown? We don't know it until we experience some degree of it or some level of it. And I love that it ties the Dr. Joe stuff in too. Like the unknown has never let me down. And the Bashar, like everything's happening for me. So who cares what happens?
Yes.
And then putting the positive spin on whatever it is. Yeah, I've gotten to practice with that a lot this past week. So this is really cool to kind of tie it all together for me too.
Yeah, me too. He makes this statement repeatedly. You think you want certain experiences and things, but what you actually want is the capability to intentionally choose a new perspective on what's going on around you. And through choosing a new perspective of what's occurring, you can always make it feel better. And making it feel better is your indicator, the emotional indicator, telling you you're more aligned with a higher truth or your inner being.
Yes.
And I see that so clearly. Like, so the house is on fire and you're like, that house shouldn't be on fire. So you're resisting your reality. You're sending out to the mirror, something's wrong. This is not right. And essentially the mirror is going to give you back circumstances which you're going to continue to experience that way. So I see so clearly where he says you want a new perspective where you could look at it and find a better feeling thought. And the better feeling thought doesn't have to be based in logic. You could say, well, it's an old house actually, and you like write a story for yourself. Well, it's the old house and actually the people were trying to sell it for the past year and couldn't. So this is the best thing that ever could have happened to them. It was an accidental fire and now they're getting insurance money. Like you can write your own script in imagination and then feel better, because what's essentially happening anyway when you're like, oh my God, their house is burning down, you're writing a story, that family is being victimized by life, and then the emotional indicator is telling you, whoa, you're way out of whack. But either way, you're creating a story. So why wouldn't I create a story for everything that's happening, that this is benefiting the other person, me, the whole world? And it's possible.
Gosh. Yeah, that's so good.
Yeah.
So think about like the practical implications, you know, you listening or watching, like how can you really use that? And, you know, we've all heard this, everything is happening for me. What if you really dive into it and play with it, like, and ask, like, how is this happening for me? And I've been doing this, like, if you're new, I just took my daughter to University of Chicago from Phoenix. And this is my firstborn, the first one to leave the house. And up until going there, I was super proud. I'm like, oh my gosh, I raised this girl, this young lady, to be brave enough to move across the country where she knows nobody.
Yeah.
And like, she got a full scholarship. I mean, there's so many things to be proud of. And then when I left her there, it's like not the best of areas. I mean, it's pretty scary if you get off the campus. I was like really, really experiencing sadness. And I'm like, okay, I think, you know, this is normal, right? Like this is the first time my daughter's been away from me. I've been a single mom for, I don't know, 15 years or something, whatever, long time. And then I was in hot yoga class, and this is one of the places I process difficult emotions. So between poses, when you're done with the first half of the class, the standing part, you lie down and you do a savasana between every pose. And I just like cry and I cry. And nobody can tell, probably except the instructor, because we're already red and wet.
Right.
But my chest is going, you know, it's like shaking.
Yes.
So, but I allow it. I'm like, okay, whatever, it's just emotions. And then knowing what I know about how the subconscious mind works, I'm like, the purpose of this difficult emotion or unpreferred emotion is to try to get me to take an action sometime in the past. I'm like, so what is my mind trying to get me to do? So this is, I'm going to tie this all together.
Yes.
So my mind, by producing these chemicals and experience sensation, emotion of sadness, wanted me to not leave her there because I can't protect her, right? But it's already done. So that emotion is essentially useless because I can't go back and change it. I'm not going to fly back and yank her out of school. You know, like none of that's happening. It's not my choice. So by going through that process, it's a different way than you described it, but it eventually took me to, this is all happening for me, and what story do I want to tell? Like, go back to like gratitude. Like, she got a $400,000 scholarship.
Boom.
I mean, no kidding. And it's like one of the hardest schools in the country to get into.
Yeah.
Like, it's some professors say it's a better school than Harvard. So I mean, there's so many things. I'm like, this is amazing. And just knowing that everything's happening for me, everything's happening for her. So whatever happens is perfect for her. It's perfect for her soul's evolution. It's perfect. So in a way, like, that is me unconditionally loving myself, unconditionally loving her, unconditionally loving the circumstances, and not being a victim, being a creator of my perspective and my story and how I choose to go forth in the world so that I can love myself and serve others.
That is a very cool application of it, and a reclaiming of your power as the creator. It is really that easy. It's so easy. The trick or the challenge in it sometimes seems to be what Abraham calls momentum. When you've been thinking a thought for more than 68 seconds and you have some solid momentum going, just like a truck or a skier going down a hill, you're not going to stop it in 1 second. You need to kind of gently steer it or slow it down with sleep or meditation or refocusing before you can actually turn it around and get it going in another direction.
Or pizza feet.
Pizza feet, yeah, as they teach the kids now, right? Without poles, you pizza. I was a snowboarder, so I had a whole different game going on.
There's no pizza going on
No
there.
pizza, but I do know of the pizza.
Yes.
We yell at the skiers, pizza, as they're having a yard sale, as they call it, right?
Pizza or
They're like
burrito?
losing all their shit.
What do they say about snowboarders?
Yeah, burrito would work. I don't know what they. I don't remember. I like was self-taught. I never really took a lesson. I just like watched people.
I see.
I'm sure they tell people something.
I'm sure they do.
But anywho, if I can too, I'd love, I noticed you said you were like feeling some degree of fear about leaving your daughter there, which is like understandable based on the idea of memory and collective consciousness and stuff. Joshua talks about fear to a great extent. And actually, Abraham seems to suggest if you put enough focus towards something you prefer in a way you prefer, you'll take action with zero fear. And I've rarely seen that within myself. What I constantly see is when I'm focused and I'm about to act on something I've focused on a lot, I still do feel a wave of fear, but I'm very conscious and very aware of it, and I see it as almost like a choice. And I have easily the power and will to move past it, even though I'm seeing the fear as a choice. And Joshua suggests anytime you're about to shift into a new box or a new perspective, new paradigm, new belief, he considers them all basically the same, just different terms for the same thing. But you're about to like shift your consciousness into a new system, a new parameter, you're always going to have a barrier of fear because it's actually like the demarcation element of the passage into another box or into another belief system, into another perspective. So I see that there, like maybe you see fear because the collective consciousness is like, my child might be a victim, and actually it's the emotion saying, that's not the reality. The emotion is giving me the feedback. It's just an indicator. This is an out of alignment perception. Not there's anything wrong with it, but then you like find a new way and realize, wow, there's a million things to appreciate here. She got a scholarship. It's one of the best schools. She's going off on her own. We got her here. Like there's so many appreciative elements, and you like you use those as your momentum to push through the barrier of fear. And you'll probably see in time, like I remember when I first went to college too, in Miami for a while, I'm like, oh my God, it's like a big city, this and that. But then when you're graduating as a senior, you're like walking past like people who used to sketch you out. You realize, oh, that's just, you know, Joe who like paints on the weekends and likes to drink during the day. Like I've had 10 conversations, but the first day you're there and it's the unknown and you're not trusting the unknown. You're telling a story like that guy might rob me. Your emotional guidance system's going off like crazy. Nope, he's not going to. But if you continue to focus this way, you might be able to evoke that out of him. But once you like chill into it, get comfortable, you realize, oh, there was never anything there to fear at all. And I see this game where every time I level up, you encounter more fear and move past it. It gets easier. It seems like the level up game goes forever.
Yeah, I love all of that. It's really fascinating. You mentioned that I felt fear because it was showing up as sadness first. And I wouldn't have even guessed that fear was underneath it until I really examined, like, what is this emotion trying to get me to do?
Yeah.
And then the fear came in, like, oh, I feel like she needs to be protected, and like that's my job. And no, like I did my job. I raised her, I loved her, and I taught her how to make good decisions to the best of my ability.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And then the other thing you said was, you know, this doing things without fear, it's anything outside of our comfort zone, anything we've never done before, we're going to experience fear. That's our subconscious mind holding us to that thing to try to keep us safe, to ensure our survival. So it's 100% normal. The moment you think you're not going to experience fear or else it's out of alignment, you're fucked. Because that is what will keep you stuck and revolving, or, you know, doing the same thing over and over.
Yeah.
So that fear, it doesn't mean it's out of alignment. It means you haven't done it before. And if it's something that is going to be good to have done, you get to practice that courage and, you know, develop your comfort zone, keep stretching and stretching outside of your comfort zone. It'll get really big, and that muscle will be like, yep, I feel afraid, so what? And like, that's exactly what it is, like, so what?
Yeah.
And then every time you reach a new level, you know, the fear is still going to be there, but you have so much practice saying, so what?
Yeah, that's so powerful. The example that's coming to mind is like lately in the last couple of weeks, I had a few people tell me, like in a very kind and easygoing way in conversation, like, I think you're wrong. They're like, they're saying, I think you're wrong. Like I was wrong in whatever I was suggesting. And I can see fear come as an option, being like, oh, you need to change your perspective, say something different, appease them in some way. Even though I'm not really saying anything offensive, I'm just sharing my perspective, which is generally one of, the world is literally made out of love. There's absolutely nothing to fear here. You're capable of doing anything. All we have to do is maintain our emotional state regardless of anything occurring around us. And I mean, not surprisingly, I actually choose to perceive people telling me I'm wrong as a very beneficial thing. I see it as an indicator that I'm scraping the ceiling of the box that I'm in. I have this weird perception now where when I dip low in vibration and feel really sad, I see friends and people coming up and being like, it's gonna be okay, we're gonna get through it. And they like push me up. And then paradoxically, on days where I'm fucking flying high, I'm just exploding, is when I'll encounter people who'll say, I think you're wrong, you don't know yourself, I know you better, or something like that. And I'll be like, wow, this is an indicator that I'm actually scraping the ceiling, because the ceiling's like, you can't go any higher within this belief system. Ooh. And I've unearthed some massive belief systems. This one that's most apparently is, wait, do I know myself or do other people know me? Who knows me better? And in the collective consciousness, a lot of times parents or teachers will say, you don't know yourself, you don't know what's best for you, I know what's best for you, so like don't listen to your inner being, listen to me instead. And this was a massive belief system for me, and I see myself scraping the ceiling of it now and confronting myself with that decision. Are you gonna believe and trust in yourself and just allow the outside world to be, because there's no need to confront anything, but hold the knowing within myself, I know myself, it's cool? Or are you gonna change your perspective and your expression and your actions based on someone else saying they know what's better? So I kind of see it as a cool thing when I start getting the feedback. I started this story with some other point, but I totally forget, and I'm feeling great with this overall idea of like finding the borders with the belief system box you're in, by whether people are pushing you up or like giving you resistance to push through.
That's really cool. I love that. It reminds me of this concept in the book Real Love. And the purpose of real love is, he talks about unconditional love. And his definition is caring about another's happiness without any concern for what you're going to get back. So, it's not like I'll do this for you and I'm expecting something back, right?
Yes.
And it's not doing it because I need anything from you. It's because I want to.
Yes.
Because it feels good. But the other thing was, I would love to hear your perspective. Do you believe that the universe tests us?
I've heard that phrase from several people, and from one perspective, I could see how you would say, yes, you could consider it a test. I choose the perspective more so, it's about momentum and the law of attraction being almost like a ball of energy that gains momentum. So when I hold a belief for a while, it has momentum, it's moving, my reality is reflecting to it. So what I see is I make a conscious decision in myself, I've changed this belief. Reality doesn't hear my decision within myself, it hears my outward action and perspective on things. So I see reality as continuing, I say I've changed, and then the momentum like essentially hits me, or we like interact at some point, and that's the freaking point of power for me. Am I gonna like flinch, so to speak, when the mirror comes up and it's like, you believe in ghosts, boo. And it's like, are you gonna flinch when I say boo to you, or are you just gonna stand there and say, I know you're an illusion, it's all cool. And that is what enables the change. But until that like test, or what I would call like a change in momentum, changing the direction, it'll like glance it off or glance it up, like it'll move the ball of energy in a new way. I definitely do believe in that. How about you?
Yeah, I was thinking that, when we don't get our lessons, I believe our souls are here to learn certain lessons. And when we don't get them, I believe they get louder and louder. I mean, that's what I've experienced. Like the consequences get more severe. So in that way, I think, as we evolve as souls, I believe there are tests or challenges. I don't know if they're necessarily tests, but it's definitely, what are you going to do? Like, you say you're over it. Let's see. How do you show up? It's really easy to say things, super easy. I mean, we've had conversations like, if we had a nickel for everything we knew but didn't apply yet, and we'd be multi-billionaires, right?
Oh shit, I was just watching The Matrix. I love that analogy to money because I love money. And I was just watching The Matrix the other night, and there was a quote, I'm paraphrasing, but basically Morpheus, like the main guy, says, knowing the path is one thing and walking it is another. And I see this is the most perfect example of that. You can say a million times, I understand on the creator reality. I understand my emotions and my point of attraction are all that essentially matter. And then you're confronted with the circumstance where someone's like telling you something that offers you an option to be triggered, to trigger yourself. And there's the moment where you have all the power. And I also see the huge power in not needing to resist anything. I see all perspectives as absolutely valid. Joshua has a great quote that if you were able to suddenly take on the other person's memories, experiences, and beliefs, you would have the exact same perspective as them. And he uses that quote, to know is to love, which might be from the Bible. I'm not sure where it's from, but I've heard that a bunch of times, to know is to love. And he goes, that's the meaning of it. If you can truly know the other person, you know their experiences, their memories, their beliefs, the things they've experienced, you would immediately know and be like, of course that's why you're acting that way. Of course that's why you're saying that. It makes perfect sense from that experiential perspective.
Yes, we use that too, the exact same thing in rapid resolution therapy. Like, we think that if something happened, something caused it, and something caused that, and something caused that. And if I were you, gene for gene and experience for experience, I think if I was identical to you, I would have made exactly the same choices you made in the exact same moments that you made them.
Yes.
I couldn't have done it any differently, and you couldn't have done it any differently. Therefore, you shouldn't have done anything differently, ever.
Yes.
And we are, as human beings, the only species that ever thinks that shouldn't have happened or that should have happened. No kangaroo thinks that.
Yes.
No kangaroo, no camel, no polar bear. They've never heard of such a thing. So, yeah.
That is so powerful. I practice that a lot now, and I see so much power because it makes it so easy to dissipate negative emotion. Like, there's a belief system which is so powerful and so easy to hold on to, which immediately gives the emotional feedback, like, of peace, if not actually elevated emotions. And what I would consider true sympathy, it's not sympathy like you're a victim, you're wrong and you don't know it. It's sympathy more like empathy, like, oh, if I was in your shoes, that would make perfect sense. And then with another belief system, well, all truths are true and everyone's just picking their truths to then have a reflective experience. It, like, everything just like vaporizes into peaceful, almost excitement. Like, it can go anywhere from here.
Yeah.
I can like feel it in this moment.
It certainly helps with acceptance, and a lot of people are working on judgment, and I believe there's no such thing as judgment of others. We're always judging ourselves. If you're judging someone, you're condemning yourself. You're judging them for things that you think would be unacceptable about you. And oh my gosh, we're talking about like being a victim and being a creator. I had like such a beautiful opportunity to practice this last Friday, John.
Tell me, Karen.
So I did a session for this woman and it went great. So she refers her friend. And I had never talked to this guy. And usually I have some idea of like what people are coming in for. And I do like trauma resolution work, essentially. And he came in and he was like completely closed off to everything. He'd be like, I have no idea what you're talking about. Like, I would ask him a question or like try to understand him and all these things. So at the end, like, this guy, and I do numbers like on a scale from 0 to 10, how strongly are you feeling this emotion, blah, blah, blah. His numbers didn't change. I mean, and I'm like, so I texted his friend, I'm like, I apologize. I lacked the skill to cause a significant shift for your friend. So I told the author, the owner, the founder of this modality, I'm like, I don't know what I could have done differently or what I could do. I couldn't have done anything differently.
Yes,
right?
yes.
But what I could do differently next time should this come up. And everything he did was like exactly what I did. So, but anyways, one thing he taught us was we are 100% responsible for causing a shift, which is what enables me the power to actually cause it. And when I didn't, to say I lack the skill. because I'm sure somebody else could have, right?
Yeah.
And that, again, puts me in a place of power.
Yeah. Ooh, that's a really cool example. I actually had a different belief system coming to mind that was feeling better for me. But talking about unimaginable, like I never conceived of, you're basically just accepting, hey, I did the best I could, and that's good. And there's undoubtedly someone else who could maybe accomplish this, even if I can't, but like, it's okay. I did the best I could. It's okay. He did the best he could. And it's okay. There's someone else who maybe could, or definitely could make that bridge, and just like acceptance.
Well, I think about in the past, I would have thought there's something wrong with me. I'm not good enough, or there's something wrong. More likely, there's something wrong with him. He wasn't open. He wasn't willing. And even in my head, I'm like, I was very curious. I'm like, I wonder why he paid for a session. Like, because outwardly he didn't look like he wanted to change.
Yeah.
So I was very curious about that. And, it's like the second person that I think wasn't really super open to it that I've ever dealt with. And I've done lots of sessions by now. Yeah. But just shifting it to, I lacked the skill, feels so good in my body, which is so shocking because, what therapist would say, I lack the skill to get you better. And if they were to do that, it fills them with power to shift it.
Yeah.
I don't know. It feels really good. It feels clean.
It's beautiful acceptance of self. And I've started recognizing, like you were saying, there's essentially no difference between other and self. If I'm judging someone else, I'm judging someone else. If I'm judging someone else, I'm judging myself. That same idea of being like kind and gentle and soothing towards yourself as you would like your child. A couple other channels recommend that when you're deep in momentum in a non-preferred direction, just soothing yourself, being your own best friend. Hey, it's all right. We did the best we can. Like, we don't have to save the world. We're not here to influence everyone. Yeah. And another perspective that was coming to mind, which Bashar has offered before, I feel like we're trading perspectives, which is maybe the most exciting thing. Bashar, frequently, when I've heard other people say I'm like a counselor or healer or doctor or something of sorts, and I wasn't able to impact this person, he reminds us of the core fact that we offer each other different perspectives, but ultimately no one can create in my reality, just like no one can create in yours except you. Like, we're all ultimately the only creators of our own reality. So someone else can lead us to water, but no one can make us drink. So Bashar frequently offers this perspective. Some people have decided, like, my life fucking sucks and no one's gonna prove to me that it doesn't suck. And they actually make appointments and go out of their way because they're choosing that perspective, probably unconsciously, but maybe consciously, because that's the game they wanted to play as an infinite, indestructible God. And they'll go out of their way to have appointments with people who will confirm to them from their perspective, at least, see, I'm unhelpable, I'm completely miserable and lost, and like revalidate that until they decide they want to have a new perspective and change.
Yeah, I can see that. And I'm not going to adopt that for myself because, again, I'm the creator.
Fuck yes.
I'm the creator. And the moment I think somebody is there because they, want to prove it, then I give up. And I'm not giving up. Like, I go like full force the whole time. I'm going at it. And I get to choose to believe. See, I'm motivated by my intention. So as somebody's telling me what's going on, I'm seeing them how I want them to be. Yes. And then I share it with them and ask if it's okay, did I get it? And then I'm doing what comes to mind to create it, to cause it, to cause it, to cause it, because who's the creator?
Fuck yes.
And they're paying me for that. So I am there to create a shift,
that is
to cause it.
Superpower. And I actually find more better feeling emotion in your perspective. And it's immediately ringing my bells to this quote. This guy, Reverend Ike, I think I mentioned him a few times maybe.
Yeah, Ike Turner. Yes, you have. Remember, I say it every time.
Naturally. I've mentioned this quote before, and I feel excited to mention it again. He always says, facts aren't in charge. I'm in charge because I'm the only creator in my reality. So if I want to see other people respond in a certain way, and I can be, do, or have anything I want. So I love that perspective.
Fuck yeah.
And I have a great story to share on that lately. I've been in such great alignment. I had bought a ticket. I'm headed to Italy for a wedding for a while. I had bought a ticket a long time ago and plans changed. And it was like a non-refundable ticket. It had all these policy restrictions where at best I was supposed to be able to get credit, like airline credit to spend. Not only did I get airline credit, but I got a full refund.
What?
Despite every policy being against it, because I'm finding this like gentle level of asking and focus and being like, facts aren't in charge, I'm in charge. It's okay, this person is telling me over my dead body, is this gonna change? Like, that's fine, but they're ultimately not in charge of my reality, I'm in charge of my reality. And I'm finding, we were talking about this in another episode, the asking for specific things just for the fun of it, despite the whole introduction of this episode being not so much asking for specific things.
We're playing with all of it.
Yeah, we're playing with all of it. Has been like this gentle asking to acknowledge I'm the creator of my own reality. It's fine this person's saying no. There's a billion other frames of reality that I can shift to where the answer is yes. Not going to make a big deal out of it. I'm going to go about my day as if my prayers have already been answered and just kind of chill. Like, life is effortless when you can just chill into it and know everything's happening for me. Like, every blade of grass, as Joshua says, every person, every like pebble on the ground, everything is here just for you to play out the experiences that you're choosing through your belief systems.
I love all of that.
Yeah.
That's so fun. I love that example.
Yeah, thank you.
So you got airline credit and a full refund.
Well, no, I didn't get both, but I got the full refund. Okay. That would have been, I didn't even
I'm like,
conceive
what?
of that.
Well, that's what you said. That's what I heard.
At first I got the airline credit, and then I said, surely there must be a potential in the quantum, shout out to Dr. Joe, where I get this credit as an actual refund to my credit card, so taking it one step further.
Nice.
So, but I didn't even conceive of that. Surely there's a potential in the quantum where I get airline credit and a credit card refund.
Well, you might.
I might. Ooh.
There's still?
Oh shit, there's still time.
There's still time.
It turns out there's still infinite time. We've gone nowhere and we're going nowhere. We're in the infinite eternal now.
Yes, we are.
We are.
Oh my gosh, this was awesome.
I am flying high.
So fun.
Yeah.
Leave it there?
Fuck yes.
Fuck yeah. Thank you so much for watching and listening to Right
Fucking
Now, baby.
Peace.